police have not given us much information about today's discovery. But joining us now, Utah defense attorney Greg Skordas, to talk about what happened today and what could be coming next in this investigation. Greg, how significant are these developments today?
Well, this is huge, Bob, and it's something that you and Kelly and I talked about in the studio a couple of months ago when Lori got arrested, because she was the only one that was arrested, and people kept asking. We talked about the fact that why is Chad not being arrested? So I think that it's now come full circle for him. I think that the Fremont County Attorney's Office had finally got enough evidence to have a search warrant. And they went to the house, they went to the yard, they knew, it seems like, exactly where they needed to go. And they dug up what appears right now to be human remains. God forbid what those are, but this is extremely significant. And I would say that this is the beginning of the end for Chad Daybell.
Now, the fact that Chad was seen fleeing and was taken into custody about a mile from his residence, what do you make of that?
I think that he miscalculated what was going to happen here. I think that he probably felt that whoever gave him up, or whoever gave the police the information that they ultimately needed to get this search warrant, and chances are, just based on my educated guess, it was probably Lori who finally decided she'd had enough of sitting in jail for something that he may have contributed in. But he probably thought that was never going to happen. And once the police arrived, once they came with the backhoe, once they started searching, he probably knew, or seemed to have known, what they were going to find, and decided there was no reason for him to stick around. I mean, it's significant. This is a huge development today, no question.
Now, Greg, in light of what happened today, what kind of evidence would be needed to press charges either against Chad or against Lori at this point?
So we've always been waiting, Bob, to find out where Tylee and JJ are, to find out what happened to them. And it's always been the missing link, although it's not the critical link to a homicide charge. If, in fact, the medical examiner and those authorities in Fremont County determine that, in fact, what was found in his backyard are indeed the remains of those two children, it buttons up very tightly the homicide case that everyone's been expecting to come for a long time. It wasn't necessary, Bob, but it was very, very helpful to make this case much, much more compelling, especially if the remains are found right in his yard.
All right, Greg Skordas, defense attorney and Democratic candidate for Utah Attorney General. Thank you so much for being part of Fox 13 News Live at 5. Kelly.
Okay, without a doubt, Bob, this case has seen a lot of twists and turns as we've been covering it for months now.
Let's break it down for you. JJ was last seen at his elementary school in Rexburg on September 23rd of last year. Tylee Ryan was last seen September 8th while visiting Yellowstone Park with JJ, Lori, and Lori's brother, Alex Cox. JJ's grandparents called Rexburg police to report him missing weeks later. They said Lori had cut off contact with them. Chad and Lori were married on November 5th, just weeks after the disappearance of Lori's children and the death of Chad's previous wife, Tammy. In December, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, died. He shot and killed Lori's previous husband, Charles Vallow, in Arizona last summer. Kelly?
Now, it was on January 3rd, Chad's home in Salem, Idaho, was raided for the first time by state and federal authorities. Then on January 26, police in Hawaii served the couple with a court order to show the missing children to an Idaho judge by January 30th. That deadline came and went with no sign of JJ and Tylee. In alleged contempt of court, Lori and Chad were free in Hawaii for about 21 days. Then on February 20th, Lori was arrested in Hawaii and held there until she could be extradited back to Idaho. It was on March 5th, Lori and her police escort arrived in Rexburg 2 days after Chad had arrived on his own. March 6th, a request to have her bail reduced was denied. Fox 13 News has been following the search for JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan from the beginning, as well as the court case against Lori Vallow Daybell. You can find more of our in-depth, comprehensive coverage online at fox13now.com.